Hey friend, Graham here from recordingrevolution.com, and I'm calling all songwriters. If you are a songwriter, this video is for you. I want to give you what I'm calling the Songwriter's Guide to Recording. This is a method, a framework, a way to think about recording that I use. I want to give to you to help you make better sounding recordings. If you are a singer-songwriter, or if you're the songwriter for your band, this might be a very valuable resource because this might be where you're getting stuck. A lot of times, we songwriters start with our primary instrument. Could be guitar, could be piano, could be keys, it could be drums. Whatever your primary instrument is, we start there. We have our song idea there. We might hear more things, but we're not sure. Either way, it is hard to think outside of our core instrument. And so when we go to record, we record our core instrument and what we think the supporting cast should be. And sometimes we nail it, sometimes we don't, but there's certain elements that your arrangement could really benefit from to make the recording really come to life and then the final mix really come to life. And it all has to do with choosing the right types of tracks and instruments and the right moments for the arrangement. And I want to give you a simple framework to think about. So I'm going to show you real simple in a song that I've been recording for my band at our church. So I am a songwriter, and my primary instrument is guitar. So I have a song that was written on acoustic guitar, and here is the main acoustic guitar part. All right, that's a main pass through the main riff. To make this fill out, the obvious choices are, well, you want some bass and you want some drums if I want to be full band. So let's go with the obvious ones. Let's bring in the drums. And then let's bring in the bass. I'll give you these two because you might have already thought about them. That's good. Now, this is where a lot of times I used to get stuck. I'd be like, what do I do next? Like, do I add lead guitar, electric guitar, keyboard synths? And if I wanted to do them, what would they do? What would their role be? Even if I couldn't play them and I wanted someone else to play them, what would I tell them to play? Or what would I suggest they play? Or how will I know if what they're playing is adding to the song or not adding to the song? So here's the simple framework. If you've got your core instrument, it depends on what your instrument is, but there's certain elements that every good song needs. So you need rhythmic elements. And fortunately for me, this guitar was written on an acoustic guitar and it's a very rhythmic strumming pattern. So that's kind of in place. But what we can do is fill in some of those gaps a little bit with something very different like a piano. So we have a piano player come in, and instead of sort of the, syncopated riff here, she could do simple quarter notes that are still rhythmic, but they're filling in some of the gaps. Let's add that piano. So now some of the holes are a little bit filled because a piano or a synth or electric piano isn't just rhythmic, but it's also sustaining a note, which my acoustic guitar couldn't do. So we're filling in a hole with a hybrid of rhythmic and note sustain. Another thing I want to do and consider doing is adding a texture piece to really emphasize this rhythm. So I'm going to add an electric guitar here that is the same part, but it's a distorted part. So it's going to add a little bit of grit. So another way to think about this is the part was already played on the acoustic guitar, yes, but now I really want to add a different frequency spectrum, different frequency range, and that's what the distorted guitar is doing. And it's giving me a little bit of width because now I've got this different tone on the left as opposed to what the acoustic guitars are doing. The piano's filled in a little bit. Again, if we take the piano away, yeah, it's filling in those gaps. It's very, very important. And one final element to think about is some sort of trippy, sustained, totally different piece. If you got the rhythmic piece and you've got something filling in those holes in the rhythm, something like a pad that's just a constant sound, or a very trippy delayed guitar that is a constant sound can fill in the rest of the cracks as well. So we've got the main rhythm part, we've got the bass and the drums, which are the easy ones to think about. But then the piano filling in some of those holes, but still rhythmic. The electric guitar just adding different tone on top of that rhythm. But now what I want to do is I added a lead guitar part where I've got some triplet delay, and it adds some more of that glue in the middle of all the holes because it doesn't let up. It's a constant piece. So listen to what happens when I add this. Now we have a song. Now we've got an interesting arrangement. Okay? Everything we just played for you has a role to play. This is the song here. That's the main part. And we're obviously giving it beef by adding the bass and the drums. Very, very important. Let me get rid of these guys. And while I could put the vocals on top of that and call it a verse, I really wanted to fill this out. So we add the electric guitar texture piece, which is the same part, but now it's just a different frequency. Then we add the piano, which is rhythmic, yes, but it's filling in some of those gaps in between the palm mutes of the acoustic guitar. And then we add the constant piece. This is typically a pad for me or a trippy electric delay thing. And then I'm going to reverse engineer. I'm going to take each one away and just listen to what gets lost. And that's where we started from. The point of today's video, what I want you to take away from this is very, very simple. Good recordings, good mixes, stuff that you like, stuff that's on the radio. It's not just about technique. It's not just about science. It's not just about tricks. It's about one simple thing, and that is songwriting and arranging. Okay? Good mixing is good arranging. Good recording is good arranging. Good records are made from good songs that are well written. So I want you to think more like a songwriter in the recording phase and think about, what does this song need? What other instruments, tones, types of parts will push the main idea of the song forward? And so when you're a songwriter and you've got your dominant main instrument, that is a great place to start. This whole song was written from an acoustic guitar. But so much more ends up happening in the song. Even violins come in and adds a whole nother texture piece. But I just wanted to give you a little taste of, you want that rhythmic part. So if, let's say you start your songs with pads and crazy synths or cool strings, you're going to need to then add a rhythmic part. You want a rhythmic type instrument. You want a constant sustain type instrument. You want the low end instrument. You want the drums or percussion instrument. And then you can nuance that down even further to different frequency spots on the spectrum for those things. Like I've got the two rhythm elements, the acoustic guitar and the electric guitar, both playing the exact same part, but they have different tones because of where they live on the frequency spectrum. So you can nuance it down to frequency, and then you can nuance it down to then even gaps on the rhythmic stuff where like the piano is half rhythmic, half sustaining tone. So it kind of bridges the gap between the acoustic guitars and that trippy delay part. But they all have a role to play, and that's what's going to make a recording more interesting to listen to, is because all those elements are there, as opposed to lots of rhythm guitars doing the same thing or lots of pads doing the same thing. That's boring. Why not have just the core track or tracks for each of those elements, and then you'll have a more compelling arrangement. Now, there's a lot of stuff we could talk about, and I want to give you something that actually will help you take this a little bit further. I've got an entire guide on creating songs in your home studio called the 6 Steps to a Radio-Ready Song Guide. And there are 6 distinct steps. Songwriting is a step, arranging is a step, and they come before recording. And I go in more in depth on both songwriting and arranging in this guide. We also cover mixing and mastering, all kinds of stuff, getting your song from idea to really ready to release to the world. And it's not just what are the steps, it's how to do those steps well, industry tricks and tips that really, really work, and then ways that you as a songwriter or a band or whatever you are can then take your good ideas and have a map to flesh them out. And it's a really, really helpful guide. This is something you should download and just reference regularly. I think it'll help you in your goal of creating awesome music and getting it out there. And it's my gift to you just for watching this video. You can go get it at radioreadyguide.com. I'll put the link here in the video and in the description box. Just go to radioreadyguide.com. It's a simple PDF download. And then read the thing and make sure you don't skip any one of those steps next time you're writing a song and wanting to release it. Don't just jump to recording, okay? We really need to go through steps 1 and 2 before you get to that. And when you're done with recording, don't just skip to like, let's get this released. There are 3 more steps after recording that are very, very important before it's ready to be released. So it's all there for you at radioreadyguide.com. Hope that helps you. And I want to hear from you when you go make a record or you go make a song using these steps in the guide. Let me know. Leave me a comment in this video and let me know that you've downloaded the guide and you've implemented what you've learned. I think it will help you. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to these videos if they're helpful to you, and I'll see you on another video real soon.